LBS Practitioners webinar. And I'm Andrea Dickinson, Executive Director of Tri-County Literacy Network, and we work with the adult learning programs in Chatham, Kent, Sarnia-Lambton, and Windsor, Essex. Thank you for joining us today. I'd like to start with a statement of recognition. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the Indigenous peoples of all the lands that we are on today. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands which we each call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local Indigenous peoples and their cultures. From coast to coast to coast, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people that call this land home. This Employment Ontario service is funded in part by the Government of Canada and the Government of Ontario. Thank you to our funder. Please note that the views expressed in this webinar are not necessarily, do not necessarily reflect those of the province. The Government of Ontario and its agencies are in no way bound by any recommendations contained in this webinar. Stacy will be sharing an evaluation for the webinar, and we ask you to please complete it before you leave the session today. It is my pleasure now to introduce Robert Colicchia. Robert is a veteran literacy and basic skills instructor with nearly 20 years of experience working for Windsor, Ontario's UHC Hub of Opportunities. He has helped a number of learners work toward the apprenticeship goal path. Recently, Robert has been exposed to the UHC LBS's program Skills for Success Apprenticeship Goal Path initiatives in trades like millwrighting and carpentry. Throughout the years, he has collected and relied upon a trove of apprenticeship resources. He compiled the Tri-County Literacy Network's Enhanced Literacy Service Planning for Apprenticeship Web Resources Reference List, and on the network's behalf, also participated in the development of two new and soon-to-be released apprenticeship goal path culminating tasks for the cook and electrician trades. Robert will showcase some of the web resources on the reference list and discuss ways to apply them in educating apprenticeship goal path LBS learners. I'd also like to thank Barb Glass for reviewing the reference list for us. And now it's my pleasure to turn things over to Robert. So it's all yours. Take it away, Robert.
Thanks for all of that, Andrea.
You're
Delayed
welcome.
recognition, adjusting everybody to the presentation and the introduction as well. So here is the presentation, the Useful Apprenticeship Web Resources for LBS Practitioners. And what will be important is to also make sure that you've got the Enhanced Literacy Service Planning for Apprenticeship Web Resources reference list available and handy. So if you want to take some time to download that resource right now, it was sent as part of this presentation, as I understood. And probably having it open would be good in case you want to look at the same websites that I'm looking at, because I'll reference.
Robert, if I could interject just for one second, Stacy was just going to post that in the chat for us, so people can download
let's do that to start then, yeah. Yeah, because I will refer to pages, and pages on that PDF file, you can click the link if you want to browse while I'm browsing, if you're that type of person who likes to do that while a presentation's going on. And I'll say too that with this presentation, I was trying to kind of future-proof it in a way by thinking to add pre-recordings of myself doing the looking at the websites. So if you didn't want to view a video of this presentation, if you didn't want to watch this recording, in the presentation itself are video files you can click that would show you some demonstration of those websites, like what I'm going to be doing today as well. So we went through this, but did a little photo slideshow thing here. I graduated from the University of Windsor and got a Bachelor of Communication Studies, a Master of Communication and Social Justice, and a Bachelor of Education. And I've been working, as Andrea said, for nearly 20 years as a literacy instructor with the UHC Hub of Opportunities in Windsor. Dealt with many apprenticeship learners through the years. And here's Andrea and I in 2015 when I got the Literacy and Learning Promotion Award. And of course, the last thing, which is yet to be released, the culminating tasks for apprenticeship and electrician fields, as well as this web resource that the presentation is about right now. And we'll be focusing on the best of those resources. So from my experience, most apprenticeship-bound learners are coming in already knowing the trade that they want to take, and we can count that as a Robert Colicchia tip. I don't know if you guys all heard the little ding that's supposed to come with that, but it's on the presentation itself. The first two resources we'll look at are on pages 3 and pages 5. They're the apprenticeship system in Ontario and apprenticeship search. So these are great starting points that give like a refresher or a rundown of what to expect in the apprenticeship process. And they're the kind of thing that help a student or an instructor explore what to expect so that they know what to look forward to. The apprenticeship system in Ontario is a 25-minute video or slideshow that's available on the website link, which is also in the presentation slides. They'll always have these links as well to make it a little bit easier for everyone as well. But we'll look at apprenticeship search, which is meant to be an apprenticeship job matching platform, but seems to be a really easy way to navigate and get information about an apprenticeship trade. So this, let me go to directly to the website actually. So this is the apprenticeship system in Ontario, which when you scroll down from that link, the video is right here, or you can download the PDF. But apprenticeship search is this website right here. So you can search for jobs and apprenticeship titles, but it seems to be easier when you're in our position to just scroll down and find these 4 colored tiles right here. And you would then click on the tile that relates to your apprenticeship field. If you chose the wrong sector, you'll still have this option up here to go back to other sectors. But you can scroll down now and look into what's available from here. And if necessary, click view more and see some other ones. We'll use the assistant cook as an example today. When you click on the trade, you get some information about it. So you can read some information about generally what the job is. And you get some ideas about related skills, interests, and values. On the side here, it's not loading up properly, but this was links that there were links above these that are supposed to give you links to what the wages would be in Canada. So either there's been an update or it's just not loading properly today. But you also get pieces of critical information like this piece right here, which tells you what preparation would be needed beforehand and what preparation and training will be needed beforehand. So it says you need a grade 10 legal minimum, but it also notes that a secondary school diploma is often required by employers. It also notes here the apprentice would need 2,640 apprenticeship hours of on-the-job and in-school training. So as you can see, these 2 resources, they're just a great way to get you started to learn about what to expect from going into that process of becoming an apprentice. Now, alternatively, a little while ago, I believe it was January, Literacy Link South Central did Apprenticeship 101 as a webinar, and this is available on YouTube. So this is not in the resource that was sent by Stacy today, but this is available on YouTube and you can watch it, and it will give you a rundown of the whole process, the complete breakdown of the process of apprenticing in Ontario. And it also gives you the 4 pathways someone would go in order to go toward apprenticing in Ontario. So those 4 pathways are the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program, OYAP, pre-apprenticeship training, employer or group sponsorship, or college diploma and certificate programs. Now this resource from the resource list, the Skilled Trades Ontario Trades Information webpage, appears on page 5 of the document. And it gives you a lot of access to important documents to learn what that person's going to be doing on that apprenticeship trade. So it'll give you access to apprenticeship training standard logbooks and apprenticeship curriculum standard books, as well as sometimes exam guides and things like that. It will also give you clarification if this apprenticeship trade needs a certificate of qualification or not. From these documents, then you can conceptualize different learning resources that you can create and use with your learners that would be trade specific, and so would make things, more appropriate for that learner in your class. So we will look at this website as well. And here's the page right here. Now, generally, you think to go here where it says you can view the training standards by trade or the curriculum standards by trade, but these are new training standards and curriculum standards by trade. So for that reason, it's a limited list right here. It might be that you need to search for the trade that you're looking for, right? And so when you click here, you can search for it. But what we'll use for an example is horticultural technician. And if we look at this trade, go to the apprenticeship. Sorry, I'm going a little bit too quickly. I just want to show you. You have the links that generate here in apprenticeship resources are different each time, but almost all of them will give you the training standard and the curriculum standard. Now we'll look at the training standard. Both are similar, but that training standard is what the apprentice and their sponsor would be reviewing to ensure that they got each of the tasks that they would need to perform in order to qualify to become a journey person. So if I scroll down, I can show you what I'm talking about. You get to the point. So as we look here, you can see at each section, the trainer and the apprentice would have to sign off and date that such and such was completed. And as an example here for an horticultural technician, this one says use measuring equipment such as pH meters, builder's levels, laser levels, electrical conductivity meters, and so on. And so once they've done this, then they'll be signed off on that. And there's tons of these that they need to perform. As you can see, it's a 115-page document here. Now, one part of this was talking about soil when I had originally looked at these documents. And from that, I just did a quick search and was able to find this resource here, which was just something I found online, but something I found online that I'd be able to use with my class. So once you learn from the apprenticeship training standard logbook or the curriculum training standard logbook, what the apprentice needs to do on that job, then you can imagine some resources you can search for to find something that you could use in the classroom. And so this one here, if I scroll down, it's dealing with different soil textures and evaluations and soil field analysis. And it gives something that would be trade specific and something that you could incorporate in the classroom that will incorporate LBS skills as well as apprenticeship specific skills that the student would find handy to learn. So I'm trying to find a spot that shows where they were doing like a percentage comparison of what types of soils they gather. I don't know if I can find it, but even if we take this part where it's discussing measurement, it's, measurement and diameter. You're going to find things that are going to relate to LBS. And that's one thing I'm trying to show here is that you can easily find things with each trade that will relate to LBS and be teaching things that are trade specific and can still relate to things we need to teach in LBS. So if you have only 2 or 3 students who are going toward a horticultural technician job, you could teach something like this activity here, and everyone would get the benefit of learning measurement skills while those 2 are getting something specific. And this is something I try to do in my class and try to break it up so everyone is getting something catered to them day to day in the classroom. Because I won't do apprenticeship skills each day with my general LBS class, but if I have a specific group, then I would do some things that would be specific to that trade on a regular basis. Now, the next resource is training and working in the skilled trades. This one helps teach you how to navigate the Skilled Trades Ontario website. So I showed you a little bit about it, but this goes into more detail. And this is from Community Literacy of Ontario. And you can see from the image here, it's a very visual way of showing you step by step what you need to do. And so it page by page, it shows you things like this so you know where to click to search and what you're finding as a result of those searches on that STO website. So this resource from CLO, if you haven't seen their resources, what's great about them is they all generally start in a very simple way. It's a very pretty website as well. And you get some general information, sometimes links related to the resource. But when you click the download the PDF, then you get to that resource, and they are pretty good resources that you can find on here. There's a few of them that I have in the presentation, and you can see this one page to page kind of shows different things to teach you what to expect from what you'd find on STO's website. Now, task-based activities for LBS is, I think, an essential resource for anyone in literacy and basic skills in Ontario, because there's so many different resources available on here, and it's such an easy to use website. You can search from by stream or by goal path or by level. You can find things like what's on the image here that deal with refrigeration and air conditioning mechanic activities. So if you have someone going toward that, you can find something as specific as that from this website. And everything is in Word and PDF format. So everything just seems really applicable and easy to grab from this website and use, like ready to go right away. So that's the thing I like the most about it, is that those resources are all ready to go. And I'm going to show you some that I've used in my classes before. This one is a Word file. So this one, again, dealing with a horticultural technician job, is they all start with this OELCF alignment page here, which explains to you different levels that you're using here on this document. But when you scroll down, you get to the activity, and I've used this one successfully in a one-on-one basis or in a group basis with students. And you can see from, if you read a little bit of it, that the idea is you're helping a client coming to you or a customer coming to you who's trying to get some help building a flower garden and needs help purchasing the right materials like mulch, and also needs help with figuring calculations of area, perimeter, and a little bit of volume in there as well. And then there are mathematical money math calculations to figure out how much everything would cost. So you're dealing with also figuring out HST and calculating percentage. So that's why this one I found really useful. If I get people going toward horticultural, I could use this, and it's related to what they're doing. And also I've got a lot of different skills here that we'll use regularly in LBS for almost anyone coming into the program. And you'll have answer sheets as well on the last pages. Now, another resource that I've used, or I haven't used, but I can see myself using, because I wanted to try to find something fresh and brand new for creating this presentation, trying to simulate what some of you might go through if you're not familiar with these resources. But I found this one here where it's dealing with an automotive technician and paint order codes. And you can see there's the label that they have to read, and then you can see there's the table that they need to use in order to connect the numbers with the right color. So again, it's great that it's all specifically LBS related, but you can find things like this that can relate to apprentices. And this would be something that would be helping them prepare for milestones 10 and 11, which would be extract nutritional information from labels or referring to tables, respectively. So sometimes when I have students who would be trying to do milestone 11 and struggling because for one reason or another they're not able to pass that milestone, I'll use the alternate one, milestone 10, which deals with nutritional labels. And I'll start showing them a few of those, and then relating that when you're reading a chart like this, it's also related to other types of charts like a nutritional label. And having said that, the nutritional label ones could be used for someone going toward apprenticing cook positions, because that's something also that is incorporated into what they do when they're preparing menus and meals. So let's look at the next resource. And this one is Literacy Resources and Discussion Forums, Skills for Success resources. So again, it's excellent that these are all ready to go, prepared and all set. And you can get a full SFS course here, Skills for Success course, that you can use right away with your apprenticeship learners. So I narrowed this down to 3 that I was looking at. College Sector Committee for Adult Upgrading's Food Services Preparation modules, as well as the Refresher Mathematics series. It's just called Refresher series on there, but it is dealing with math though. And Community University of Ontario's Masonry Math series as well. So to look at these resources, so here's the website. I forgot to show you how the task-based activities for LBS website functions when you're searching, but I can show you this one. They both work in the same fashion. So if I type something in like, well, I may as well put masonry. By searching for it, I'll get anything that's related to that. And you can see there's a lot of different things. Right? You can also narrow down your search on the side here by looking for only things that are apprenticeship goal path. So I don't know how clear that is, so I'll zoom in for a minute. So right here, you can click on apprenticeship goal path. And now I'll zoom out as it's loading. And now I've got every resource they have that is related to apprenticing. And I can scroll through and try to find things that would relate to a specific field. For example, here's construction trades. Now I used those examples. That masonry math one was one that I used as an example, and this was a resource I found. These are all also all OALCF aligned. So the first pages will give you some format of showing you what levels and what task groups and competencies you're using for that would be applicable with this resource. And when you scroll down, you can see with this one here, it's very colorful and stuff. And what I liked was around, I think, page 10 here. Oh, this one here. So as before we get to that table there, it's very colorful in the sense of that here it's showing you, how to convert between different metric measurements here and showing you that kind of that ladder scale of conversion. Gives you explanations and it gives you some visual examples here. The student has an opportunity to answer some questions here too. But since it's dealing with masonry, since this is the masonry math resource, this one's great because you have another chart here that you're reading that deals with different types of bricks. And it's exactly something that they would be dealing with while they're still learning those measurement math skills, as well as reading tables as well. So they're still preparing for certain types of skills that are in LBS, and it's all relating to masonry in this case. Or as we look at the other cases, it's going to relate to those different fields. So I have those other ones open in PDF files here. Here is CSC's refresher measuring length resource. And again, you see some OALCF alignment here. Let me go to page 7 to show you some of the book. So it's very visual with diagrams and images. There's also video links in here, tables to explain different types of information. So we're dealing with a lot of different ways of showing information, just as useful as the things that we usually would be dealing with. And what's great about this one is it's really focusing on teaching how to read the tick marks that you'd see on measuring tape and measuring sticks. So specifically measuring tape for those going into the apprenticeship fields. But because it's something that's used so often, in so many trades, it's a very critical skill. And the union halls we've worked with, we hear it all the time. They always mention that it's a critical skill that the apprentices are going to need to learn. So this would be practicing reading like 1/16, 1/32, 1/8, right? Things like that, it's going to be essential for the apprenticeship learner. And you can find resources like this that you're going to also see when they're qualifying to be ready to pass certain milestones and things like that as well. So you're incorporating both of the skills of them preparing for their apprenticing as well as them completing the requirements in their literacy and basic skills program. The next resource here is also from CSC. It's the Food Services Preparation Module 1 Measurement Conversion. Again, you have the OALCF alignment. And if we scroll down to page 9, you can see this one is a simpler resource in the sense that it's just explaining things and it's showing how to frame your formula for conversion. And it's showing step by step how someone would convert from grams to kilograms, literally step by step. It's even listing the steps here. But if you have a student who needs that, you have a great resource here that you can use for that. And so you can find things like this that are going to fit for the stronger skilled student as well as the weaker skilled student. And you should be able to find the right things to prepare them. Another thing that I like about these two resources, these last two, the literacy resources in the discussion forum as well as the task-based activities for LBS, is when I have certain resources, even for a general LBS student, and I'm not able to get them to understand certain concepts from what I have, I like to come here to try to find alternative resources. Because there's so much to choose from, I usually can find things I need when I'm trying to specify a certain skill, like, for example, what we have in front of us here, converting measurement in metric, right? So you can find something really specific and you can give them things that are trade specific, and it's going to accommodate that student in your program and really give them what they want and what they need. Another thing that CLO gathered was the Digital Tools for Apprenticeship and Workplace series. This appears on pages 7 and 8 of the resource. So they've got a whole bunch of digital tools that they've pulled together. Most of these are apps meant for your phone. But you can think of creative ways of how you would incorporate digital literacy skills as well as other LBS skills with these resources. So there's a whole, like these 6, they vary a lot in what they demonstrate to the student. So I narrowed it down just to 2 of them. And I narrowed it down to metric conversions, and the other resource is a time logger. That's what we'll look at. So for metric conversions, you'll be looking for this logo. Of course, you'll install it then on the device that you're using. And you can see from the images here, I don't know, it looks like they've updated these images. But you can see, get an idea of what the resource looks like when you're converting. This resource is mainly dealing with converting units, right? So yeah, something like this is what it's going to look like when you're doing a conversion. And what I've learned from the union halls we've worked with, that certain employers, certain unions, or certain trades themselves, like the whole trade has adopted this for everyone, right? That they will allow or they will not allow phones to be used on the job site. So if your student is learning this or practicing with this app, then you're training them with something that they might be using on a regular day-to-day basis in their future career path, in the future apprenticeship career path. Or you might be giving them something that they're going to just be learning and getting familiar with those conversions that they'll need to use, almost like they'd be regularly doing in a classroom with something that's on paper. But for those where they're allowed to use them on the field, it might become something very valuable that they can use every day to practice, or not just to practice, but to confirm measurements that they need to deal with. Now, the next one is a time logger. And if you go straight to their website, which it's on the page there, but it's also here, atimelogger.pro, you can watch a video to see what the resource is all about. Beneath is where you can download for the different devices that you might have. But even looking just at the picture, you can see that it's dealing with charts and graphs. You can see that The idea of a time logger is supposed to be for tracking your time with different activities that you're doing. So this is more an executive function type of practice. So when you have students coming to you who are doing apprenticeship trades and they're maybe working a second job as well, and they're doing your program, and they might be doing some other education programs, it's nice that you have a resource like this that you can help them keep track of their studying or the different things that they're doing, like how much transportation time they're taking, things like that, so they can analyze their executive functioning abilities with time. And there's also great features that come with this app. So you can see from the goals one here, or from the calendar integration or reports, you can see you get very visual graphs and charts, which then you as an instructor can easily incorporate into activities in the classroom for them. You can get them to kind of recreate these charts or read these charts in different ways. And you could be giving them things that would really be direct practice for C4 milestones, which are the measurement milestones. With the calendar integration one, I haven't looked into it, but looking at it, like just glancing at it here, I see that this looks like something that I can start familiarizing a student with Gantt charts. And the Gantt chart is something we use with milestone 44, which is called create a multi-phase schedule to plan and sequence activities. But for that one, they want you to create a Gantt chart either on Microsoft Word or by paper, or other resources, Microsoft Excel, but whatever resource the student can use. But when someone's not familiar with it, it's nice to have something that you can refer them to that will start getting that familiarity, right? And start building those skills that they'll need anyway, going forward in life and in that apprenticeship field. The next resource is the Red Seal sample examination questions. So Red Seal, not everyone needs to get a Red Seal in their apprenticeship trade. Not all trades have Red Seal certification. But if they do, this is an excellent resource that gives the student a lot to practice, and it's just very well organized. And it's a really good resource that one of the best ones I think I've found. They're going to be getting trade-specific practice, and they're able to analyze the types of questions they're getting, so they can get an idea of what types of questions are they struggling with. So we will take a look at this website, and we'll look at it, a few different things about this website. Main page that I brought, that I bring you to with the link that I gave you is this one here. So it depends if you choose sample examination questions, exam breakdowns, or self-assessment. Whatever you choose will then lead to that. But you can see this is a very nice and easy website to navigate. You can see here you've got an alphabetical list to find your trade, and you can scroll down to find it. And what I've done is selected carpenter. And I'm going to show you the Red Seal sample examination questions. So that's because when I selected carpenter, I had this selected. So when I start, I get different questions that I can answer and go on with, but I can also check them as I go, because I can just click here and click check answer, and it will tell me if I'm correct or not. So I can check as I go if I'm the apprenticeship student trying to practice for this Red Seal test. Alternatively, if you don't want to check as you go, at the end you get an overview anyway that shows you what you got right and what you got wrong. Now, if we go back to the home page and we switch to exam breakdowns, it reloads, but now when I click on those apprenticeship trades, I will go to the exam breakdown page for that job. I've already got one pre-opened here for, I forgot which trade I clicked on, so we'll learn in a minute here. It's for floor covering installer. So again, you can see it's similar where I get these questions, but you can see these questions are dealing with my familiarity with the different tasks that are required for this trade. And I'm just answering if I'm very familiar, somewhat familiar, or not very familiar. And at the end, I will get this overview here. So I get each task listed, and I also get my understanding and experience in this task if it's low, medium, or high. And then I get a breakdown of how many questions for that task appear on the exam. And in this case, this exam is out of 150 questions. So preparing substrates, I've got 20 out of 150 questions on that test, and I've got a medium understanding of that. But if I had a low or medium understanding, I could then see what I need to practice and what I need to learn. So it's also useful for you to see different things because, like, I don't know what a substrate is, right? But if I had a student going toward floor covering and I saw that they were low on this, or if I saw the results and they spoke to me and specified this is something they're low with, I could then learn about it, look into it, and try to generate or create some math word problems dealing with this, or try to see if I find booklets that are dealing with teaching how to prepare substrates. With AI, it's something else that you can look into, although I find you need to double check what the AI generates to confirm that you're understanding it. So when it's something like this that you don't have a firm understanding of, it's a little bit trickier to use AI to generate things for you because you're not able to confirm if it's writing about things accurately. But getting this familiarity is going to help you out a lot with those students who are going toward apprenticeship. Now, if we clicked on self-assessment, right, it reloads again, and you could then click on the specific trade. And I'm sorry, I forgot to say about exam breakdown, but if you click on self-assessment or exam breakdown, it leads you to the same thing. So I pre-chose this one here, heavy equipment operator excavator, and the self-assessment is here. It links to this section. The exam breakdown links to this section down here. I didn't try out the PDF version, but you could assign them in the classroom if you'd like. But if you click on the online version of this exam, hold on a second. Oh, I'm sorry. The self-assessment was the one we just did, so I'm getting confused. That's the one with the that I did for floor covering installer. But the link for any trade is here as well as here for their exam breakdown. So since we've already looked at the self-assessment, for heavy equipment operator, let's look at the exam breakdown. This one's telling me right away that it's a red seal exam out of 100 questions. It's telling me that it's split into 3 blocks, and it's giving me the breakdown of how many questions are in each of those blocks. When I open up the block, then it goes back to the tasks and explains to me how many tasks, how many questions for each task in that block are related to that specific task. So this is excellent, another excellent resource for students to see exactly what to expect going into that red seal exam, especially the students who get nervous before taking exams and tests and things of that nature. When you look at the types of exam questions, you get even more information. So it explains things like knowledge and recall tests and procedural application tests, and it explains the percentage of these types of questions on that red seal exam. And then it also gives you an example that you can read to get familiar with those types of questions. So going through this with your learners, having your learners go through this, maybe taking some time in the class for them to go through this, is really, I think, going to make them feel well prepared for those red seal exams. And because the links are open, it's all available for us. The next resource is 2 resources that appear on page 12 of that resource list. Skill Plan and Construction Training and Apprenticeship Ontario, CTAO. Now, both of these require an account with the Build Your Skills online Brightspace learning platform. So if you're familiar with Brightspace platforms, that's what this one is. And Skill Plan created it. So it's Skill Plan owns it, but CTAO has a link straight to it as well. I'll show you how to get to that link. And what's great about this resource is that the student can practice things again and again and again and get more and more practice for the skills leading up to apprenticing in that field. In a way, this one is really well suited for application in the LBS classroom, like for an instructor to apply it in their classroom, because they're practicing skills, which is exactly what we're doing, and everything is going to be related to the field that they're going toward. So again, you're getting trade specific items from this. So let's look at those two resources. Now, if I go to Skill Plan's website, I would have to click on the link that I gave you comes straight here. And I would have to click on the Learning Hub, which is not the LBS Learning Hub. It's their own name that they've used for it. And you can watch a video to kind of get an idea about Skill Plan. I suggest that to just kind of introduce it to new students who are coming in, signing up for this. But you would have to click on sign in here, and then you would go to be creating that Build Your Skills account. On CTAO's website, it's a little bit different. Since I made the videos that I added to the PDF or to the PowerPoint file, it has updated a bit because it used to have a little menu bar here, but now you just have the menus right here. So you go to exploration and you go to explore the trades. And from here, you get a list of trades that CTAO has available on their site. And when you click on one and you click learn more, you get some information about it, and you can also download like I think an information sheet. But you see things like what are some, attitudes and skills you need on that job? What are the entrance requirements? What the journeyman's wages, which might be something someone who hasn't decided yet might want to start looking at those things to consider what field they might choose for their apprenticing. But when you get down to this part here where it's got not sure where your skills are and all these other options here, if you click on beneath not sure where your skills are, you click on learn more, it's telling you here, it's going to give you the build your skills account. And so when you click on that, it then leads to this page where you sign up for and create a build your skills account. So I've started seeing that if I start seeing images of this type of cartoony looking person on YouTube videos about apprenticing, I know it's coming from the build your skills resource because this is like their characters look like this. You will get an email, I'm sorry. You'll get an email from them when you're registering. Hold on a second. Go back here. So you'll get an email that will look like this. So it'll come from Skill Plan Learn, and it will say, welcome to the Build Your Skills Learning Hub. You'll get a URL, a username, and a password, and that will bring you to this page where you can then enter and sign up for that, to get into the Build Your Skills account. Now I'm going to go to the account right now because I've already signed in here. You can navigate the site by clicking on I'm exploring, I'm a pre-apprentice, or I'm an apprentice. There's also need help, leadership hub, and my courses. So again, this is the intro video that we would have seen earlier on this page right here. But if you click on Leadership Hub, that's where you can sign up for other courses, right? And if you click on My Courses, you'll see just by making an account that you get pre-generated courses suggested to you. So I've got these 6 courses right here. Now on the right-hand side, these program-specific hubs are that you need authorization. It says you need authorization before you can take these. But these are the kinds of things that union halls or sometimes employers will send their apprentices to in order for them to get certification with certain things or in order for them to get safety training for certain types of things. So what we'll do today is we're going to go to practice test. We're going to go to this course, practice test, and take a look at this one. Now, if you're familiar with Brightspace, you'll see some similarities here. It gives you a progress bar of what's been completed and what hasn't been completed. And if I click on one of these and I begin the module, you get a lot of different information here about that type of thing, right? So what I want to go back though, there was another resource or another course I looked at. Let's see if I can find it. think it was this one.
Robert, it's Stacy. There's just a question in the chat. Is there a cost to creating an account with either of those
No.
platforms?
This one doesn't have a cost. There's one account, there's one resource on the PDF that is sent out that you can pay for a cost. And I tried to get into it to kind of see what I could to get more information from them, but I didn't get a response. I think it was because it was coming from just a Gmail account. It wasn't coming from like an organization. But there was this exam bank, which is on page 10 of 13. That one you need to pay for. And there was another resource too that you have to pay for, actually. Oh, yeah, this one was from CSC. There's a resource. You have to email the project lead. So that's on page 6 of 13. It's the ESOT, Essential Skills for Ontario Tradespeople. So that one you have to email the project lead, and I wasn't too sure about that one, if that one had a fee associated with it, but I don't think so. I think the only one that has a fee is Exam Bank, which appears on page 10 of the resource. It did seem like it could have good potential, though, from what they were explaining with the number of questions that they provide. So I thought this one was worthwhile from what I had read when I was preparing the resource. But with this resource here that requires the account, as well as the next one we'll look at, which I'll just give you a preview of it right now. It looks like this. It's called FAST. With these two resources, you can sign up for free, right? So I'll show you that one. It's gonna load, so we'll wait. There it is. Yeah. So this one is also a free resource. But I don't know, I can't seem to find the one that I had earlier. It was a pretty visual one that I wanted to show. So I'm just going to pick a random one and see if it's as visual as the one that I had found previously. But you do always have to click begin the module. And when you scroll down, you get things like this, right? So test your knowledge using slope. And when I click on this, it flips and I get the answer. So I think because it's visual and it's engaging and interactive, I think the kinds of things you're getting from this resource is going to be the stuff that's going to help those students who have trouble retaining things. So even this one, see, it even has animation, like this guy setting up the floor here. And these questions and how it's generating, trying to work with how you're thinking about the math while you're working on it. And so for this reason, I just find this one's going to be a really good resource. I've already started suggesting it to students who've come to me and said that they're looking to do apprenticing. Unfortunately, most of them have been coming and telling me that now that they're completing the courses, they're going on to do that. So I'm going to start looking for now, as I get new students who are coming in already interested in apprenticing, trying to see if I can incorporate these resources with them, these two that you sign up for, this skill plan and the next resource, which is called FAST. So I'm going to go to that resource right now. So I want to show you first over here. So this one, like I said, does require a account. It's on page 6 of the PDF resource. And it used to be called Evaluating Academic Readiness for Apprenticeship Training. So it was ERAT. This has been around for a long time. I don't know if you noticed when I went to the webpage, or if you know about this, some people might not know about it, but it says not secure because it's a HTTPS website. It's an older website. It hasn't seemed to have been converted to the new HTML that's available online. And so it'll come up as not secure, but it's a secure website. It's just that it's using older technology, and that's the reason why, or older coding, I guess. And that's the reason why it's listed as not secure. But for this reason, depending on your browser, you may have to click advance or proceed. You may have to tell your browser that, it's going to tell you that it's not safe and give you a screen that doesn't display anything except for a warning. But you may have to click proceed in order to get to the website. And I was wondering about keeping it as a resource, but I just found it too useful. And I also wanted to keep it because it's one that I've seen like union halls and trade unions, and they've sent students to me with printed out documents from this website that they were practicing from in order to pass the test that would approve them as a journey person. So that made me feel that this is an important website for people in the apprenticeship field. And even if it's not anymore, I think the resources coming from it are very useful. You can get a lot of direct practice for students that would be applicable exactly to what they're working on. So when you come to the website and you're not signed in, you won't have this here because I've got this fake account I created. But what you will still be able to see this, and you can see the list of resources. So I was talking about them, and I can show you that list of resources now. It doesn't look as long because it's not just vertical, because each of these has, in this case, communication skills, concepts of science, and math. So for auto body and collision damage repair, you get all three practice tests, as well as associated resources with that, what they call additional resources. But they're associated with those tests because, as I'll show you, when you take the test, if you're struggling with something, it'll suggest you do those additional resources. So when I click on dashboard, and when I'm logged in, I will get this page. And this page will show me my last attempted score in a graph and my total average score in a graph. It'll also show me my last 5 attempts down here. Now it'll show me my score that I got and the time I took it. It will show me here, it'll either say result, retake, or resume. So if a student's taken a test and ran out of class time and doesn't have internet at home, when they sign back in tomorrow, they can click resume and get right back to where they left off on that test. When they're done, they can click retake or result here. Right. So I'm not sure why sometimes it's result or retake, but to show you, if I go to programs and if I scroll down and let's do brick and stone restoration mason, I've got 3 tests here. So I'll click on communication skills. This one is in progress right now. And I'm going to zoom it in so you can read it. But you can see you're getting a passage of reading that's specific to that trade. And you're going to get questions about it. Right? You're going to get multiple choice questions about it. It's very similar to stuff we do in LBS. It's very similar to when we were preparing students for GED testing or other types of testing, as you can see. And I just want to scroll down a little bit further, a little bit quickly to see. There's also sometimes visual graphs too and things like that, or figures to analyze. So you get a lot of very good resources from here that students can practice from. And when you're done taking the test, go back to my dashboard and see if I can look at my results here. Oh, so see there now it says resume. But if I go to my results here, the analysis I get tells me the percentage I got right and wrong, but then analyzes whole number operations and what I got right and wrong. And gives me suggestion for an additional resource here, order of operations, some additional resources, and so on and so forth, right? So just to look at some communications ones too. Oh, I think this was a math test that I took, yeah. So they're all going to be math. But there's tons of additional resources. So I can click this to open it, or I can just go right here to additional resources. When I go to additional resources, I can choose my program, my test, or I can scroll down and choose from a long list of different types of apprenticeship fields, as well as different types of tests. But if we look here, you can see for this one, I'm getting concepts of science, and I'm getting something specific for electrical forces, getting something specific for energy, something specific for gas laws. And they're all in PDF format, so you can grab them. I believe you can just right click and download them. I want to see if it pops up the way I'm thinking. Yep, so you can download them just like this. Or you can, you can just click on them to open them up. So I'm going to open up one that's a communications one. They seem to have more things that are easily relatable to LBS. So let's look at this one. Identification of main idea for brick and stone restoration mason. So if I go here, this is what the main page looks like. When you scroll down, you get different kinds of readings. Let me just jump to a middle page though. So you'll get different readings that again are related to that field. But again, it's very similar to LBS type practice. And you'll get multiple choice questions in here as well, and different types of explanations in here as well. I'm hoping that this one's got some visual aspects to it. Some of them will have tables or graphs to analyze. But it gives you, it's really great resources that you can use for the student that's exactly specific to what they're interested in again. And that's why I think it's another great resource that's worth signing up for. The last resource is this one here, Women Building Futures. But its target audience, as you can see, it's not just for women because it's opened to other people as well. And what students can get from here is practice for some of those soft skills with financial literacy and work and life skills. And also they can get some specific training as well. So as I understand, they are now opening up that they're making these programs available in Ontario. And let me show you from the website here. So live. So I opened it up to the About and Mission Values and Strategies page because I wanted people to get familiar with the resource. And if you scroll down, you get a YouTube video that explains about them. But the two links that you're going to want to use are these two here, programs and regions we serve. So in programs, they provide programs regarding information, classes about construction trades, driver training, heavy equipment operator, heavy equipment technician, and power engineering. And these are the ones that have now been started in person in Sarnia-Lambton, and they seem to be planning to spread them out throughout Ontario, as what Andrea had mentioned to me before the presentation. If in regions we serve, if you click on Ontario, I'll show you how a student would sign up for those live workshops or those live courses. So they would have to scroll down here to subscribe to our email list to be notified about upcoming training opportunities in your region. Okay. However, even if there's training opportunities that are not coming in where you live in Ontario, they can sign up for these ones up here, which again was when I clicked on Ontario and I just scrolled down a little touch. Get ready for your new career. Learn more and register for readiness sessions. So in here is where they can learn about foundational math, career exploration, personal development, and money solutions. And if you have a student who needs these soft skills, these work-life skills, why not incorporate it in a way that's that's flavoring it with apprenticeship related material to get them to engage into it and get them to actually do it. And when you scroll down, you can see there's events coming up that the student can click register now and attend these webinar online workshops. That is the last resource. I'll get back to the presentation here. So I hope that everything was enjoyable for you, and I hope that you found useful and applicable resources from the resource that we gathered and from the presentation. And I'm going to finish the presentation in a way that I've always wanted to finish a presentation, with a classic abadi, 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 that's all, folks. And that's the end of the presentation. So we'll open up now to questions, and I can answer anything people have and maybe share my screen again to kind of demonstrate some of those answers. Is there any questions? I'm trying to look through the chat too here. Okay, so I saw
Lots of
Keelan saying,
positive feedback, Robert. This is
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, I'm seeing Keelan Stishi, if I pronounced that correctly. These are fantastic resources. When the video is sent out, would it be possible to include the links in the email or in the video description? So in the, I do have those links though, because they're in the resource, but they're also in the PDF or in the PowerPoint file. So if I show you my PowerPoint now that it's off, with each of these resources, oh, I seem to lost my mouse here. So with each of these resources underneath, I put the, oh, hold on. I'm not sharing my screen, am I? Let me share my screen here. I always think it's funny how you can make so many mistakes with online communication, and goofy things like that happen. And I teach this to my students each day. And I did the exact same thing. I didn't share the screen. Just started gabbing about something. But you can see here with each of these links, or with each of these resources, underneath I added that link. So when you open up the slideshow, you can copy the link like I'm doing here, when you download it, when it becomes available. Or if you make it full screen, I don't know, it's not working right now. When you make it full screen, you can click the link itself. And it just by holding control and clicking it, it will then open up that website. Okay. So okay, I don't know, I'm not seeing anything else unless there was other questions.
That was excellent presentation, Robert, and
Thanks.
good comment by Stacy. Well done, Robert. I have no idea how you kept all those links organized.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks to
that was the
Stacy for
hardest part.
putting those in the chat. Wow, lots of great resources. Thanks, very thorough, much appreciated. This was a fantastic webinar. Thank you for sharing all of these wonderful resources. So lots of positive feedback. I really appreciate the walkthrough of the resources. So there's a lot of great responses there, Robert. So, and I know Stacy's going to put an evaluation, or maybe that's when people exit. I'm not sure if it goes in the chat or when people exit, but there will be an evaluation. So thank you very much for an informative presentation, Robert, and um, managing all of the sites as well. That was a lot of work. So thank you. Great job. Thank you very much to Stacy for all her work in hosting the session, putting materials in the chat as well, and links to the resources. Thank you very much to the ASL interpreters. And of course, thank you for joining today. We really appreciate it, and we hope you found it helpful and worthwhile. And we ask you to please complete the evaluation. So thank you, everyone, and we hope you have a great evening.
Bye, everybody.